What's going on, guys? So I just finished watching this movie called Let the Right One In. It's a Swedish kind of horror movie, drama, coming-of-age movie. It was released in 2008. It's based off a novel. The novel looks really interesting, too. This movie was actually really, really good. I really liked it. It's about... Well, it's directed by a guy named Thomas Alfredson. He's a Swedish director. He's done some, Swedish TV shows, maybe a couple other movies. Nothing that was in English that I wanted to, translate or anything. It's a story about this little boy named Oscar. He's played by a guy named Care Hildebrand. He's 14 years old, born in 1995, and another actress who also plays a 12-year-old vampire named Lena Leanderson. Her name is Ellie in the movie. Same age as Oscar, though. And it's just about, Oscar's just this little blonde kid who's smaller than the rest of his friends. He gets bullied a lot at school, bullied hard. They hit him with a stick and they whip him and beat him up. And he goes outside at night and he doesn't really have any friends, and he pretends to, stab things, has these little imaginary scenarios where he's, defending himself and killing his bullies and shit like that. He's kind of troubled, and he meets this vampire girl named Ellie who moved in next door. She's living with this guy, I forget his name, but she's living with some older guy who goes out at night and murders young boys and drains them of their blood into buckets and brings it home for Eli to drink so she doesn't have to go out and kill people, I guess. 'Cause, I don't know, maybe she's a lazy vampire, maybe she doesn't want to get in trouble. But he's kind of a bumbling kind of murderer kind of dude, because he screws up a couple times, or he's interrupted by people walking around, because he'll just chloroform the boys and just tie them up outside and just, slit their throats and try to bleed them into jerry cans. People will be outside walking their dogs and stuff, and you'll have to run away, and they find these grisly murder scenes and stuff. And anyway, so Eli has to go out sometimes and get her own victims, but she screws up sometimes too, because the bodies are left over. She won't dispose of the bodies, so the guy will have to go out and do that. Or sometimes she'll leave her victims alive and they'll turn into vampires. And there's this one particular lady who gets turned into a vampire, and she doesn't really realize what's going on. She'll wake up in the morning and some sunlight will be creaking through the blinds and it'll burn her fingers, and she doesn't really clue in that she's a vampire at all. She's craving blood. She's feeling really weird. She goes to visit her friends in her boyfriend's house, and she can't come in the room unless you invite her in. That's where the movie gets its title from. You have to invite a vampire in the room or it won't be able to enter. And this guy has a whole bunch of cats, and all these cats just start jumping on her and stuff and freaking out. Pretty cool scene. Had CGI cat fights. Anyway, so she gets hospitalized because she's feeling sick, right? And she doesn't realize she's a vampire, and she decides to commit suicide because it dawns on her finally that she's a vampire, and they open up the blinds at her request, and she's bursts into flames. And that's kind of where the antagonist in the movie comes in. There's the... Eli kills one of his friends at first, and then he kills his... then Eli turns his girlfriend into a vampire and puts two and two together and starts to deduce where this guy lives, and that there's a vampire living there. Anyway, so Eli just plays this manipulative little vampire girl. I think she's manipulative anyway. I think the whole movie's about her just choosing her next protector, suitor, caregiver kind of guy. I'm pretty sure it doesn't state it clearly in the movie that she's been friends with her old guy since she was probably a little kid, because the whole thing is she'd make friends with a little kid, teach them how to fight for themselves, defend them, share a little bit of intimacy and stuff and friendship, and say they're dating and going out and stuff, and sucker them into the whole romantic aspects of vampire lifestyle, and giving them money that she steals, and she has all this jewelry. She's really, really nice. She's got these big kind of doe eyes too, puppy dog eyes that it's hard to say no to. But yeah, really, really good movie. It has a good use of tone and quietness. It's got good cinematography, great dialogue. Very smart, very artsy movie. Well, not overly artsy, but artistic. It's really good. It's well acted. Here's one of the final scenes where Oscar finally stood up for himself and hit that kid in the head with a stick and made his ear bleed, so now he's getting his younger brother to come over and drown him and stuff. He's trying to take some strength training. He plays this really naive little boy, and he teaches the vampire Morse code and stuff so they can knock on the walls and talk to each other at night. But yeah, the whole time you're watching this movie, you're just sympathizing with the main characters. You never really want the vampire to get killed or anything. You just want all these other people to leave them alone, get murdered and stuff. Really, really good movie. Plays with your mind a little. It's got a little bit of gore. At one point, the caregiver gets caught in a gym because he's trying to kill this boy and collect blood, and he's busted, so he doesn't want anyone to be able to trace him back to Eli, so he pours sulfuric acid on his face and melts his face a little. And there's a scene coming right now where they're drowning him and you see all these limbs fall in the water. But yeah, really, really good movie. It's romantic, horror, drama, all wrapped into one. Really good movie. Comes with subtitles, or you can watch it dubbed. It's up to you. But yeah, I loved it. Really, really good. I'd be really interested in reading the book too, because apparently the book goes into more detail about her past that the movie doesn't really do. But yeah, solid movie. Totally recommend it. You don't have to be like a vampire fan or anything to enjoy it either. So if you hate vampires, there's a good chance you probably still like this movie just because it's such a good story.